to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maybe see. Okay. Well, welcome everybody here tonight, all the visitors that we have. And anybody here that's wishing to speak on any of the consent and regular agenda items? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion for the consideration of the consent and regular consent agendas.
I move that we approve the regular and consent agendas as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0. Okay, monthly financial reports, I'm assuming everybody got a chance to look at them. Any questions on those for Renee? We're good?
They were a
I
little
love the
late.
look on your face every time I say the same questions.
No, I'm open to questions. They were a little late. This month was a quick turnaround with the first and then the holiday and that good stuff, so they did just get attached today. But
Okay, all right, if not, then those will be filed subject to audit. And then the Part B on information, the 2025-26 minimum teacher salary requirement. And that's just basically any Department of Education, they put out that we have to, so we received the paperwork and just to make sure everybody knows it, right?
you just have to publicly acknowledge.
Go ahead, post it, and we don't have to vote on it?
Nope.
Nothing we can do with that.
Okay.
Is there a penalty for not meeting that?
There is no penalty. When they put it in, they knew that some schools would not be able to get there because some schools were lower and it would take a jump. But they are encouraging every school to get to this requirement, as well as 62 and eventually 65% of your salary goes to teachers. If you cannot reach that at that time, then you publicly announce that you've not done that. I assume at some point there may be a penalty, but as of right now, you're just acknowledging.
Okay, so we'll move on to new business. First thing on the agenda is the consideration of the old policies and procedures. That's volume 38, number 2. I gave you guys a handout at the last meeting with some of the highlights, and really, there's just been some revisions and combination of policies in reference to prohibition against disability discrimination in employment, threatening or intimidating behavior towards staff members. There was also some technical corrections too for the personal background checks in terms of mandatory reporting. So the big one, I think I told you guys, is the no cell phone. That's going to be interesting. See what happens there. Let's see, we're saying right now that no individual in the corporation, including who will have a cell phone during the day.
Students will be inaccessible from bell to bell, meaning they cannot access them at any time during that period. Teachers will not have them during classrooms, like individual classes. We're not going to take their phones or make them put them in their cars for the course of the day, but they will not have them on their class.
You can't have them between classes either, right?
If they're in the hallway working, then, which is where they should be supervising always.
How are we gonna know if they got it or not?
We're everywhere. No, because, so the kids will say
Yeah, right now.
something. The kids will say something because they can't have phones, headphones, all this. So they will be the first ones to say, well, they have it out. So it's just gonna be those conversations that the three of us have to have, at those staff meetings and say, hey, this is the expectation, because how the Senate bill, Senate works, you have two options, either have a no technology period at school, where they have to be left at home, but they have to be in a storage that's inaccessible. Well, ours is the lockers, so that's the best that we can do without buying all the magnetic pouches and spending all that money. So ours is from 750 to 238 for our buildings, and then when Jake's time was there, you know, we are just also, that means, but this also covers if you go to the bathroom, go to your locker and grab it, you're gonna follow our 4-step policy of discipline pretty fast. So it even counts for that. So they cannot have it at all. That's how the law goes, and you just go with it.
Very good. The only other thing was, we talked about this in the last volume, was the old suggested the board appoint a male and female, the Service Corporation Compliance Officer. We did that. We named Brian and Heather. Heather being the lead investigator or decision maker. But we also added Jake, so we have somebody in each building. And we still remain with Heather being the designated person in terms of the investigator or main decision maker. And then also there was a description, I think, of 5 days recommended Steve for evaluation. Do you believe all we still have to vote these in? We have to vote on these since they're automatically.
Yes.
Yeah,
These are decisions.
they're considerations that we have to.
All right, so I'll make the motion for the consideration of the Neola policies and procedures for volume 38, number 2.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
You ready?
Oh, I just said entertain the motion.
Okay.
I just made the motion, so I second.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll second.
Thank you.
This one.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, passes 5-0.
No, it's not that it's changing, but just a quick question, because in there it said something about board within 30 days after commencement, have to select president and all the things instead of January 15th. Is that something that fixes that?
I believe that starts with the new,
I think that's right.
I believe that starts in 2027, but I could be wrong.
You had it highlighted, that's why.
They were now giving instead of to the 15th because some boards don't
I think
necessarily.
that is correct. We'll double check that.
If it said 30 days after commencement, it was like that. It's like, either we missed it this year or.
Yeah. Good, that's okay. I need to check that. We're good. All right, so, B, consideration of Kokomo Area Special Education Agreement. Yeah, anyone
It's our yearly renewal with our cooperative for special ed services, that's all it is.
have? Good. So I'll entertain a motion for consideration of Kokomo Area Special Education Agreement.
I move that we approve the TCSC agreement as presented.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, passes 5-0. C, consideration of contract agreement for professional services for Medicaid reimbursement. Anything on that, Steve? Any?
It's for Dr. Marley to sign off as the doctor on our Medicaid, things that we have to send into the state.
Yeah, it says reimburses over $40,000 each year. This is done virtually, I believe, Mark, that's.
We just pay her $500 to do it.
Okay.
She has the correct licensure to sign off.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion for the consideration of the contract agreement for professional services for Medicaid reimbursement.
I'll move that we approve the contract agreement for professional services for Medicaid reimbursement as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And then consideration of the 2027 year budget timeline.
Those are just the dates, the regularly scheduled board meeting dates. but we have to state this is when we want to have our ratification and our approval meeting for the budget for next year. So they're just on regular school board meeting dates, so nothing's changed.
Good. So does anybody second that motion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the consideration of the current year 2027 school year budget timeline.
I move that we approve the budget timeline for the 2027 school year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. And then, consideration of principal extra duty stipend. See?
So, with the principals obviously picking up extra duties next year, I assume it's gonna mean that their days are gonna be extended because they're gonna be doing extra duties during the day rather than their typical work. So what we decided was to help compensate them. We treated this like we would treat a teacher who picked up an extra class, where they sell their prep hour to pick up a course. And so what we did is we took a new teacher's salary, divided that out by the number of classes to get a rate, and then we multiplied that out per semester. So each principal at the end of the semester would get a $3,035 stipend if they complete that semester without an assistant principal. So that's how we did that. And it probably doesn't even cover the amount of extra work they're going to be doing, but we need to do something.
Anybody make the motion?
I'll move that we approve the principal extra duty stipend as presented.
Second.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. New business under F, consideration of resolution to reallocate supplemental homestead credit. What is that one?
This is a good one.
This is a good
It's
one.
a really good one.
So this year with the new taxing, there was a new deduction that all of the homeowners got it, the supplemental homestead deduction. That's something that went through on everyone's property tax bills for this year. This year and this year only, that deduction could be taken, that circuit breaker loss could be taken from our debt service and operations. So I know it sounds really kind of crazy, but it's a giant benefit to us. So we can change some of that, take some of that circuit breaker loss from our debt service fund and not have it all hit our operations fund. So it's all in SEA 1 with the new taxing changes. This year is a one-time only time that we'll ever be able to do it. So we looked at it, we have enough cash balance in our debt service fund to be able to support this loss in there rather than the operations fund. So Steve and I felt like it was a win to be able to transfer some of that money from debt into operations.
Transfer $113,000.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Steve did have to write a letter and he submitted it. And then now you guys just have to approve it and then I can transfer it over.
Very good. Okay, anybody second that motion?
We don't have a motion.
I entertain a motion for consideration of the resolution to reallocate supplemental homestead credit.
So moved.
Can I explain it to us? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Okay, under new business, letter G, consideration of McKinney-Vento coordinator. Business.
So it was held by Brian Boone before he left. So if we have somebody who's homeless, the person who's coordinator determines if they are indeed displaced, and then we can offer services to them. And so I'm going to take that over. I didn't think the principals needed one more thing. So it's not horribly time consuming. We just have to keep up on it. So I can do that.
He gets to work with me even more.
Oh, God, I haven't done that. I nominate Dennis
Then my
Carter.
then my comment's really wrong. Why are you waiving the $1,500 stipend?
I don't believe I can do that.
Don't you legally take that?
This one, there wasn't anybody else in the corporation who needed the extra responsibility of this.
Okay.
I'll move that we appoint Mr. Shawn as the impedimento coordinator as presented.
I'll second it.
Very good. All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. All right, so down to H, consideration of the principal contract renewals. Spoke with these individually?
Yes.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion for Mr. Light, our TES principal, contract renewal.
We need to vote on the separate, or we vote on together?
I think separate because they're listed separately.
I would do the separate.
Okay.
I move that we approve the Taylor Elementary School principal contract.
I'll second.
The one for Jake Light.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't single him out in the second. Okay. All right, so this is for Jake, Jake's renewal of his contract.
Okay. Yeah, Sean said elementary, but yes. I said sorry.
Mr. White, that's for Mr. White for the record.
Okay, so, any other discussion? All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Got Jake in there. All right. Sneaky bodies. They win. All right, let's go to the second one, Ms. Heather. I entertain a motion for Heather Ward, Taylor Middle School principal contract renewal.
I move that we renew Heather Ward's contract as Taylor Middle School principal.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now for the big dog. I'll entertain a motion for Mr. Brandon Gleason as the THS high school principal, contract renewal.
I'll go ahead and do this one too. I move that we approve Mr. Brandon Gleason's contract as high school principal.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Outstanding.
Now you're all stuck.
You're all scared.
All right, last thing on here, under new business, I, is consideration of additional appropriations approval. I'm not sure what that is. Yes, ma'am.
That's me.
Should've known.
So every year we have to do an additional appropriation for our operations fund. At the beginning of the year, last summer, when I did the budget for this year, I have to do our revenue projections, which I always budget low on, and our expenditures, which I always estimate high on to get our budget. This year, this is now the time that I actually know what our real numbers, well, so far, what our real numbers are going to be right now. So we could do an additional appropriation request to the state to get the rest of our budget funded. So normally I do this in October or November, but I was an eager beaver this year and thought I would be an overachiever.
You jump right on that with all that time you don't have. Very good.
How much did we appropriate last year?
Oh,
I was trying to compare year to year.
I think it was like 1.2 last year at the same time.
We can tell you that the operations fund is a little better this year than it was last year.
That's good, yeah.
That's right there, actually, so.
No. It had $2,000.
Okay, you want to make that motion?
I'll move that we approve the additional appropriations as requested.
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right, board or Mr. DeShawn, anything else?
I'll have a meeting tomorrow with our insurance we'll determine tomorrow if we're gonna have an increase in our rates for next year.
Health insurance.
Yeah, health insurance. And there's also a battle going on between Ascension and United Healthcare. And there's a possibility right now that starting next month, we could be without the ability to go to Ascension, St. Vincent. So that's kind of a big deal. They're battling each other, so I'm not sure what the fallout's going to be. We'll find out tomorrow. And I know that affects a lot of people, because a lot of people use Ascension, St. Vincent down in Carmel. So hopefully they can figure that out. And then,
United Healthcare is how, is that the community, how, I mean?
well, United Healthcare is just
Right.
nationwide. It's huge, and
Right.
now we can go about anywhere we want. But Ascension and United Healthcare are battling so that they would now be out of our network.
They kick them out.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
And I know a lot of people are using those, and it's gonna, I know we do. So it'll affect a lot of our employees if we use that.
It's not just our health trust, it's all
No.
United Health.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes,
understand.
okay, national. So. But I'll have more answers next board meeting on all of that.
I have a real quick heads up. Our Neola policy platform is changing. So if you're like me and you look at our policies all the time, it will start to look a little different. They're gonna move everything current that we have over to a new platform. It should be wrinkle-free. And when you click on our website, should be, to look at our policies, it's just going to start looking different for you guys. It will, behind the scenes, the stuff that we do, we'll have to make changes to, but you should still be able to look it up by, like, if you have a keyword that you're trying to search. Supposedly, it's supposed to be better at that, so just kind of keep that on your radar. It's going to change.
And we'll have new policies to look at towards the end of July, Dan.
Okay. Would that be the right time for us to have our own private meeting and look at what we have? In case there's certain things, critical assessments of whatever that we might want to look at changing, wording, or revise, or whatever.
No, because they keep up with law, and if they change one tiny little word in the state, so you have to change it, they already do that. This is just literally changing the platform. They're changing websites, and Neola is going with their own instead of the Word docs that they currently use, but they claim it's easier.
Better and cleaner.
And costs less money. Of course, we don't see that savings, but they do.
Will all the policy numbers be the same still?
They should.
I have way too many memorized.
They should, the emails promise that it's going to be a really easy, hey, here's your new policies on this website, but we'll see, so.
I guess I don't have anybody here to ask, but athletically, just looking at some of the stuff that's come out, Kurt's done a great job of posting stuff. I don't see any camps going longer than 1 day for 2 hours or 2 days, or other than Mr. Weeks has done a fantastic job. I don't see any of that going on. I'm just curious as to where we're at with that platform, how many kids we got interested in different sports. Have we got people out in the community that we with the kids and encourage the kids and get to know the kids? And I mean, what are we, you know much about it?
You kind of already alluded to it. The only one I'm kind of in the loop with is Mr. Weeks, just, from being on the football staff last year. I'm not able to do it this year, obviously, with some of the principal things we're going to have to do and the time commitment for that. I know from his end, I'm a part of their email thread or their text message thread where they're talking constantly, and I know I can see from the house that they're doing a lot of stuff with kids and doing some camps and stuff. So I do, and he messages me a lot to post things on the elementary Facebook page and send out parent square notifications. So he's really the only one I've talked to this summer, but I know he's doing a really good job.
Tony had a small one.
Yeah. Tony's had me put stuff out before we even left.
Lonzo's got one in July. Is
I think it's 1 day for 2 hours.
that what it is?
I know part 2, I announced it for the middle school. I know for girls tennis, I know Madison part 2 was having a 3-day camp. July, I don't remember the dates, I just remember I announced it
And she works out football, which is kind of fun. Tennis players all go work out and do
I see boys soccer out there.
conditioning.
I see boys soccer out there, they do quite a bit.
August thing, you know, we could probably reach 60 to 70% of our kids just through athletics. Not necessarily academics, although we've blown that out of the water, we've done a great job that way. But I think that's another way to reach the kids and get them involved. I just haven't seen a lot of serious.
Like, the third, fourth grade?
Yeah,
I
third,
just
fourth, yes.
posted something, on Facebook regarding that. They kind of had to, do some adjusting just based on the number of kids. Mr. Hill, who is my behavior specialist, helps with the Mount Pisgah, organization, and so we're trying to kind of loop them in. I know Mr. Weiss has done an awesome job, talking with Mr. Hill. I think they're just trying to kind of start together, try to see if we can get some numbers going that way. And, you know, this is Mr. Weems' first year, so I know third and fourth grade, he's reaching out to parents. There were some second graders, we didn't have a lot of second graders, so trying to see if they want to play with the third grade team and just different stuff like that. I do know from going to the Sharpsville fireworks, I know that they were having some trouble getting some numbers. So I think all of the schools kind of in our area are kind of talking, how can we just get the kids playing? You know, it's just for whatever reason right now, it seems like not as many kids want to play sports as normal, but they are working. Yeah.
You said you were struggling to get volunteers.
Yeah.
That very level too.
Yeah, the Tri-Central guy actually had stopped me. He was like, "Hey, your head football coach, Mr. Weeks, was your representative. He was the only high school coach there." So I thought that was pretty cool. But I know a lot of schools are trying to drum up some interest, and I do think now we're kind of in the age where it's like everything is so last minute. Like it's going to be like, oh, signups are on. Last year's signups are Saturday, August 5th, so or whatever the date is. You know, we got to get there. So I think we're kind of running into that.
All right, so no 5 o'clock meeting on August 12th. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I would say one thing we could end as positive news, I was getting messages here at 6:12. So our turnaround student this year for the high school, Xavier Walker, you guys remember him, he was one of our drummers, big into music, all that. He auditioned, crushed it, and was accepted to Tennessee State University, and music's right outside of Nashville there. So with hopes to continue on his musical journey. So, you know, so that's something positive on there. That's pretty cool that he's going far away from home and like going closer to the music world. So
That's good.
yeah.
So are we having 5 o'clock?
I think no. We're going to be starting school, and their minds are going to be locked into just getting going. So I don't think it's really going to 5 o'clock.
I do think Brandon, by maybe September meeting is really would be cool to have 2 or 3 kids from the leadership.
Well, no, they'll be here in August.
I just think that'd be awful.
Yeah, we already have our members, but some of them just got back from, you know, Europe and they're doing other stuff, the band and stuff. So they'll, starting August, they'll be here. So
Great. I'm excited for that.
Oh, and Taylor Night at the
nope, it's recorded this way.
right. Do it.
Yeah, when David hit stop recording, I'll say something. So I was gonna wait for a minute.
We're done.
Okay, no more questions, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.
We adjourn.